Steve Beeson with American Ironworks. The new polydyne type hoses with your plastic cover on the outside, they become very useful in the CNG transfer. They pose a pretty good challenge when we're trying to restrain them. What we've discovered works real well is the whipstop type hose restraint, which is your braided, looks like kind of a Chinese handcuff. It does very well. A lot of times they're not as user-friendly as the cable choker style. We've came up with a cable choker style hose restraint, and it seems to be working very well. The whip check style that loops over your hoses, they are only rated for 200 psi maximum, to where on the cable chokers, depending on the ID of the hose, but for instance on this 1/2 inch hose here, we can get up to 5,000 psi. These systems come tagged with the ID of the hose and also the maximum PSI. We're going to cause a failure on this hose here today. We're going to pressure it between 5 and 10,000 in a nitrogen form. We've taken our machine, our lathe, and we've cut this fitting down to where it has a wall thickness of around 20 thousandths of an inch all the way around. So between 5 and 8,000 psi, this fitting here should fail. The hose will propel out, and we'll see how well the cable choker performs on it. Again, on the whip check style, these are only rated for 200 psi maximum, so be aware of that. Let's see how well the cable choker performs. Okay, looked like that the cable choker held successfully. Let me unlatch my camera here. You can tell that the cable choker moved from here up against the spring. Fitting failed, just like I'll have to look at the other tape recorder on I have another camera set up over here that's monitoring the gauge on. I believe we were at 6,000 when it failed. But again, the 3/16 cable choker, I don't see any frayed wires. It looked like it performed very well. Pulled in on the hose. Next test we're going to perform, if you'll notice on this one, the cable choker did pull up against the spring here. That spring could have assisted it in preventing it from sliding off. What I want to do next is actually put electrical tape in this area here, and then put the cable choker on the other side of it. That way, if the hose was to fail in this area to where it shoots out of the crimped fitting here and does not have the spring for the choker to pull up against, is the tape sufficient to prevent the cable choker from pulling down? But the cable choker performed very well. We launched that at, I believe it was 6,000. I'll look at the tape. 0 damage on the cable choker. So the 3/16 at a 1/2 inch, 6,000 nitrogen performed very well. We just got through testing a 1/2-inch polydyne hose with the 3/16 cable choker. I'll have to look at the video and see where it failed, but I know we were up above between 8 and 10,000 psi. As you can tell, the cable choker performed wonderful. I do not see any fraying at all on the cable choker. And the tape in this area right here prevented the cable choker from sliding off or sliding up against the bend restrictor, so that performed very well also. You can see how thin the wall is right here where we've machined this nipple. Machined this nipple right here when it failed. So very pleased with the test.